Hello, we are here with His Honorary Staffan Nilsson. We have the pleasure to address you a few questions today. Thank you very much for your presence.
Well, it's a pleasure that you will have an interview with us, that you give us the opportunity.
The pleasure is on my side.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the first question is, talking about great income differences, working conditions, and the divergence of personal interests, do you like to think of a global united society or a fragmented one?
I want to talk about a global united, even if I understand that it is a very difficult issue to achieve and to reach.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we need to have a vision. Even if we see the difficulties, the problems, the people against, if you don't have the vision, you will not reach small of the goal step by step. And of course, if you look globally, we need to get the most poor people out of poverty.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And what kind of message do you think is transmitted to the world, the entire world, the Nobel Prize being awarded to the Tunisian National Dialogue Quartet this year?
I know that sometimes the Nobel Prize for Peace is deeply discussed when it get to Mr. Obama, when it got to European Union, etc. In this case, I have only read positive comments, because the initiative they took was to achieve a peace and a new treaty based on democracy. And perhaps at this stage, the best outcome of what we call the Arabic Spring.
So would you call this as a success of the structured dialogue?
I could call it a process of structured dialogue, since you have these four groups engaged. When I talk about structured dialogue, I could even talk about a little more, because I know in Tunis they had in the past an economic and social body which was formed of different interest groups. But of course, depending on the story, when that it was too linked to the old regime, it disappeared. So it could be restored, it could be installed. You can even have an even more structured involvement of civil society and actors.
I see. And how does cultural diplomacy help solving conflicts without going through crisis?
First of all, I think the concept is to have a so-called soft power, and which gives the possibility for us as citizens and individuals to get to understand other cultures. But when you talk about culture, I think two things. First of all, when it comes to economic crisis in a country, it's more easy to cut money to the culture sector, to the culture workers than others. Secondly, the importance of that also the culture is an open, that we accept, and in some cases the culture, a book, a movie, could make us react, could provoke a little, in order to get us in a new way to think and to act.
So I think flowing into this next question, you have set very big hopes and opportunities in your speech for the cultural, for civil society as an actor of change. But often it's also the cause of problems. So especially in times of globalization, where do you see possible solutions, drawing from your own personal experience, for frictions within a global society?
I think it's a very good question, and it is also very important, because it's very easy to make the picture of the civil society as a sun, but you have also action, and I think dialogue. If you go to the negotiations now between United States, US, and the European Union, there is a lot of fear from civil society groups. But I think the only way is for the negotiator to be open, to be transparent, and to have a dialogue with this. In some cases, they need to change the agreement. In some cases, the civil society need to understand what is behind. I know that in my in the committee, European Economic Social Committee, we were asked by the Commission to help them to find stakeholders when they have the first meeting in trade negotiations with Central America. Because the Commission didn't know. We have the civil society contacts. I called an office in Costa Rica to ask them to get people, relevant people, to come to a meeting to discuss the first trade agreement with the European Union.
Very good. So one more connected to this. Do you see a problem in cultural hegemony within those dialogues, or like?
Yeah, problem, but of course we have in some or another way to accept that there are differences of culture, traditions, etc. But I cannot accept that they are used in order to, it could be used in a contradictory way, that it is used to say, there is a differences we have to respect. As we have said in all the interventions, we have to respect basic human rights.
Okay.
It's accepted by United Nations, and you cannot use this as a threat.
Okay.
Well, Your Excellency, thank you so much for your time today, and we hope you'll continue to enjoy the conference.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.